Hello and welcome to Business Reporter's Digital Economy campaign. I'm Alistair Greener. Today's CEOs know that people are the most important asset for gaining that all-important competitive edge. But most businesses, including the FTSE 100 companies, don't have enough skilled talent. Is there a shortage of talent and skills? Or is it how businesses acquire skills that fails? This is what we're going to discuss today with Bex Roycroft from mthree. What does skilled talent mean today?
Well, first, we need to make a distinction between skilled talent and educated talent. Education is there to provide foundational learning and life experience and is typically based on sort of research, theory and general application. But what businesses actually need is availability of the perfect skilled talent at the right time to meet their requirements. And we're seeing a huge skills gap because technology and innovation is moving forward at lightning speed and education simply can't keep up. For example, if you take a school or a university curriculum, it may take a couple of years for that to evolve, whereas technology in that time may have moved forward by as much as 10.
So would you say that education is doing a different job or is it the wrong job?
It's doing a different but equally important job. If you think about a computer science degree, you may have 300 students that go through exactly the same degree, but at the end of it, they're not all going to start their careers in the same roles. And we simply cannot expect that education can keep up with all of that different variety or synchronise their change of their curriculum in line with the industry.
So if, as you're saying, education can't keep up with that skills gap challenge, how should that gap be closed then?
There are two parts of the problem, really. The first is looking at emerging talent, and that's looking at building pre-trained pools of skilled talent. And the second piece of the puzzle would be looking at reskill. And reskilling is using the talent within your own organisation and unleashing that talent.
So how do you go about creating new skills with emerging talent?
So if you imagine you're a hiring manager at an investment bank and you're looking for a software developer, no matter how good that opportunity is in your business, you're immediately competing against every other investment bank out there. So that becomes incredibly expensive and competitive, and that's just down to the supply and demand issue. So the other option is to build your own pool of skilled talent through emerging talent programs. And you do this by taking aptitude and ability and then training in the tools, the technology, and the industry knowledge on top of it. And by looking at skills and aptitude, you suddenly open the net so much wider and look for talent where other people aren't looking.
Okay, so how does mthree help in that situation?
So mthree are an emerging talent and training organisation. So we have two parts of our business. The first is creating these emerging talent programmes, and the second is working with organisations around reskilling. And we're very much focused on enabling talent within the market, creating more opportunity, driving diversity, and helping businesses close their skills gaps.
Okay, so give me a step-by-step guide of how it's going to work.
If we look specifically at emerging talent, what we do is work with an organisation around their talent needs to find out exactly what roles and where their skills gaps are. And then we build pools of talent, which we put into our global academies, and then we train them in those specific tools, industry knowledge, and technical skills that they need to be successful within their role. And then when we look at reskilling, we work with organisations to look at their now and their future needs around their skills gap. And then we go in and create tailored training programs which train their employees to get to that end requirement.
And what kind of time frame would you expect for this to take place?
So typically our training programs can be anywhere from 6 weeks to 12 weeks long, depending how immediate the needs are of the customer. But these are emerging programs and emerging skills, so it takes some time for those individuals to be fully optimized within their role. So these are more of a medium-term to long-term strategy for companies, but without that, they simply will not have the skills of the future that they need.
And what sort of differences have you seen with the clients you've been working with?
I think organisations are starting to realise that recruitment is simply not going to get them where they need to be. And every day they're seeing the impact of not being able to fill roles. And ultimately not having the right people in the right roles stops innovation and it stops growth. So therefore companies are now looking at ways that they can deploy new strategies.
Some people might say, well, why should an employer have to reskill their workforce?
Well, the supply and demand cannot be met by hiring alone. The World Economic Forum has estimated that by 2025, 85 million jobs are going to be displaced. And that's down to the shift in the division of labour between humans and machines, while at the same time, 97 million new roles are going to be created. So that's a deficit of 12 million. And there simply are not enough people out there to fulfil these roles of tomorrow. And reskilling is also a totally complementary strategy to recruiting, because it's looking at a whole new talent pool, a passive pool, your employees. And it has many benefits, because not only do you not need to look at recruitment, but it also drives engagement and loyalty. And a workplace learning report actually stated that employees that are at companies with high internal mobility actually stay twice as long, on average 5.4 years.
Okay, so let's say I'm a CEO of an organisation and I take your advice and I decide to reskill my workforce. Talk me through the process.
So a learning and development strategy would be the most obvious way to go. So that's carrying out skills gap analysis and then creating very tailored training programme. But there's also job rotation, which is moving people between different jobs, or job enrichment and job enlargement, so adding additional skills to somebody's role. And there's peer coaching and mentoring. And finally, you can look at outsourcing or bringing in experienced hires and carrying out knowledge transfer.
Let's say there's a key decision maker watching this. What key messages would you like them to remember?
So employers that focus on ability and aptitude can create their own pools of skilled talent. And this will reduce the skills gap and also give them the edge on the competition.